What's up, y'all? This your girl Lola with Lola's Chronicles, and today I got interviewing with me Miss Author Sandra Nicole. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be on the show today.
Yeah, glad that you took the opportunity to come on the show today. I really appreciate your presence.
I'm glad to be on here. I'm glad you had me on here.
Yeah, so would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Sandra Nicole. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I have written 60 something books, but I published 13. And then six of those books became bestsellers on Amazon. I am a mom of four. And let's see, I have a 23-year-old, 16-year-old, and 10-year-old twins. So my life is pretty busy, but the most exciting part about it all is, being able to share my gift of writing and show them, that they can follow their dreams as well.
So you're a Flintstone. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's what's up. What made you start writing?
I actually started writing when I was 8. They had a contest by Ebony Jet magazine, and I entered the contest. I didn't win the contest, but they sent me this letter that said "Dear Author," and that kind of like lit a fire. Like, wow, author. So then I started, writing those short stories for our school newspapers and just writing stories and passing them around to my friends as I got older. And they all kind of like encouraged me to pursue this as, a career. So, but it started when I was 8 with that contest I entered.
Oh man. 8 years old. I understand being an author and starting so young and writing, is a big outlet for us, especially growing up in Michigan, I should say. I can't say
Hmm.
other places, but I can't. I lived in Flint a couple times, and
Oh, okay.
so it's just the whole point. My mom used to live there, so I know how it is down there.
So you
Uh,
know all about the Fly City then.
yeah, I know. Oh,
Hmm.
um, what are some challenges you had to face becoming a published author?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that I had to face was I dealt with imposter syndrome, like really bad, where I felt like even though people would always tell me that, I could write and all that stuff, it kind of just seemed to come through one ear and go out the other for a long time. It was like it took a long time for me to accept the fact that I did have this gift and people liked my stories. So once I finally like faced that head on, then I realized, okay, I need to get through this right here so that I can focus on telling good stories. And then another problem that I had was I cared too much about what other people said, people that were not writers or readers. It was like, just people in my life in general. They would say stuff to kind of discourage me from writing. So I had to, push those people out of my ear and all of that. And I think that's like a common challenge that some people face is, listening to people who really don't understand you as a writer. So they try to tell you should do something else, like pursue some other career or something like that. So, but those were two of the biggest challenges that I faced.
Okay. Yeah, people will try to talk you out your dream, and especially like I understand what you mean when you say if you talking to people that's not readers or writers. If they're not in the
Hmm.
going in, of course they're gonna try to deteriorate or deter you from doing what you're doing because they don't understand it. So I get
Right.
that right there completely. Um, do you have a traditional publisher or are you more self-published?
I'm actually both. I started out self publishing like back in 2002. Then I got one traditional publisher, which was I published with David Weaver first, and then I published with Cole Hart second, and then I went back to self publishing. So I kind of did both of the routes.
Okay. Yeah, I did too. I understand that. Um, who would you say inspires you?
One of the authors that inspires me is Miyasha. You know her,
Uh,
Miyasha Coleman. I
um,
like her a lot because she writes like in the urban fiction genre, but she does like movies and all of that stuff. So she inspires me. And then there's Ashley and Jaquavis. They inspire me a lot too, because they from Flint. So to see them go from here to like Hollywood and all that stuff, it's really inspiring.
Yes, which is understandable. Sorry, I had something in my. So sorry. But yeah, I heard about them. I hear they some good authors.
Yeah, and they're right from here. I think they live in Detroit now, but they from here. But they inspire me a lot.
Them kids. What made you take the first initiated step to put the book out there?
Well, I always liked writing, and this opportunity came for me to publish one of my books. And I didn't know that the people were like what they call like a vanity press, where they kind of like make all their money from selling the books back to authors, and like they send you all these services you don't need and all that stuff. So I went through them to get my first book done, and um publishing with them though actually helped me start my consulting wing of my publishing company, because I learned how to do it the wrong way, and I had to go and figure out how to do stuff the right way too. So that was how it started though. I wanted to share my stories, and I just decided to start putting them out there.
Were you scared the first time that you published your book? Because I know I was nervous as heck when I first put my book out there. I was so nervous because I didn't know what people, like you said, being afraid of what people would say or or think of my writing. So it was more so, I was so nervous. Were you nervous?
Well, I wasn't scared so much. I just didn't really know a lot of the process, so I kind of had to learn along the way. Um, yeah, it wasn't really scary. It might have been more just nervous, because I didn't know if people was gonna like the cover. I didn't know if I just didn't know if the book was gonna look good. But I wasn't really scared, just like nervous.
So what kind of books do you write?
Primarily, I write urban fiction and poetry.
Okay.
Hmm.
So do you get attached to your characters that you create?
Yes. And it's crazy because every time I write a book, people ask me, which character are you? I'm like, none of the characters are me. They're just like based on like pieces of my life. But I do get attached to some of the characters. Like in the book I wrote called Weekends Only, I got attached to the doctor in there with the nurse. It's Jacob Lattimore. And I had no idea that he had the real name of that guy on the shy. So people thought I wrote the book about him. I'm like, no, I just made him up in my
Make
head.
it.
But yeah, I liked him. And then my characters in my series, Big Girls on Fleek, my favorite character in that book is a character named Tanya. And that's because she's a lot like me, because I used to be like a nurse aide. And so
Uh,
she's a nurse aide. And, she's trying to find love and all this stuff, but she don't, want just any person and all that. So she's the most like me, and she's the one that I was the most attached to out of that series. But yeah, I definitely get attached to some of my characters, and some of them, when I get tired of them, I just kill them.
yeah,
I kill them all.
I and then I get sad too. Like, dang, I love
Yeah.
the book. I can't bring them back, but I get. I be the same way. Like I get attached to some of my characters, and then and it just the reaction I get from the readers that get attached to the characters as well, and they be upset.
Hmm.
Why did you get rid of him or her? That was
Yeah. I done got cussed out a few times for killing off certain characters, but I got tired of them, so
they had to go. They had to go.
yeah. You can only make them be crazy for so long before you have to, get rid of them.
But they could right, exactly. Uh,
Hmm.
what's something you would tell your teenage self?
Ooh, something I would tell my teenage self would be go for your dreams early. Um, only because when I had kids, it became kind of harder to like focus on writing and building a career because you gotta, still be able to take care of your kids and all that stuff while you pursue your dreams. So I would tell myself, my younger self, to go after your dreams like right away and don't wait until later because when life starts happening, you might not even get to go back and pursue your dreams because you don't know how it's going to happen, how life is going to life, as people say. But
Yeah.
they say life be life. So,
Life. Yeah, you're right.
yeah. Hmm.
Good advice to get because I like to ask that question because a lot of us end up in places we never thought we would be. You know,
Right.
and
Hmm.
we know our journeys of how we got there. So I like to ask that question because I love to hear the response. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Well, especially the people that come on the show and that keep it real with themselves. Like, look, I would tell myself, don't do this, don't do that. Or,
Hmm.
a lot of the advice that we would like to give our teenage self is that I noticed that we all have in common is that we tell ourselves, don't give up. You know,
Right.
situations that we were encountering at the time of our teenage years, you know, do affect our life.
Right.
But in where we come out of those situations and end up we writers, we're authors, we're podcasters, and it's so much content creators and influencers, and people never thought they would be this far. you know
Hmm.
it's not just because we didn't give up, we learned from the lessons that we encountered growing up. So I feel like I love asking that question because so many people just like myself never thought I would be doing this right now.
Hmm.
Myself never thought that I would be podcasting, and I always talked about writing books, but I never talked about publishing them. I was more big
Hmm.
have movies and stuff, and it was like, oh my god, I'm really doing this. You know what I'm saying? My teenage self wouldn't believe this.
Right.
Couldn't believe that we are
Hmm.
here. Like it was so many nights that I can remember going through things, and it's like I would love to sit with my teenage self and tell her like, look, do this the right way and you're gonna go real, real far, instead of
Hmm.
pick myself back up. But that's life. Life be life,
Right.
you know.
Hmm.
But I do love asking that question. What some advice would you give someone that wants to walk in your footsteps as far as becoming a published author and getting themselves out there?
One thing you have to do is study the industry. It changes so much, like one minute people might be interested in this type of book, and then the next minute they might not. Or the way you promote can change. Certain channels that we used to use back in 2002 to promote your books, they not even existing anymore. So you might it's just so much stuff that can change. So it's good to just know, be a student of the industry and whatever genre you want to write in. Like if you want to write romance, you have to study romance so you can make sure that the books that you write hit all the things that people expect when they read a romance. Like I didn't even know that when I first started writing, I was calling my books romances, and I found out they weren't romances. They was more like contemporary women's fiction. Because a romance book, when people read it, they don't want to see people cheating in there. They don't want to see, they want to make sure the story has a happy ending and happily ever
Hmm.
after and all that stuff. I didn't have that in my books. So I had to go and learn, like, okay, these are the components of a romance. So now when I write my newer stories, they follow those guidelines so the readers know, okay, this is really a romance book. So be a student of the industry and your genre, whichever one you want to write in. Study it and make sure your books hit all of that. Then you want to start promoting before your books even come out. Like if you're working on a book now, you should be telling people about the book, getting them invested and excited about the book so that when it comes out, you already got people ready to buy it. So those are three things I would tell people.
And that's good advice because you're right. You got to research because
Mm-hmm.
step out there and put your book out knowing, what I'm saying, like you said, in the wrong genre. And then,
Mm-hmm.
making any sales or getting the exposure you need because you got it in the wrong area.
Right.
Um, What are a few future goals you want to reach next year?
Well, I want to break into the movie side of everything, the film side. Like I've been learning how to do scripts and plays and all of that stuff. So I want to do that, get into movies and get into back into plays because I used to do plays here in Flint. So I want to get back into that. And then I also want to do a spoken word project, a little album I want to put together. So
Okay,
that's something I'm thinking about too. But yeah,
that's what's
that's
up.
what's in the works.
That's that's what's up. Um, where can readers find your books?
All of my titles are on Amazon. I do have a few on my website. It's payhip.com/ author Sandra Nicole. But everything so far that I have is on Amazon. Some of the books, though, I took down because I'm going to redo the covers and put them back up. So, but what's on there is on Amazon.
Hey, well, that's what's up. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and, you know, talk to me because so
Oh,
many
you're welcome.
it's so many authors out here that I didn't even know, and it's like it's dope that I get to meet you guys and talk to you guys, and you know, not just that, just being in the presence of different authors is amazing to me because like being an author myself and trying to group myself around more people that's doing what I'm doing. So I tip my hat to you. And you said you've written so many books. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Thank you. It definitely took a lot of time, but yeah. Once you get into that writing, though, it's like it just flows. And so when the flow starts, I just let it flow. And then when it stops, that's when the story stops. So,
right.
mhm,
Right about that. You are so right
mhm.
about that because I'm in the process of writing a book right now, and I'm like, I got my days. Some days I'm like, I'm not feeling it today. Then I got my days where it's like, okay, I cannot leave this computer screen. So I how it go. Um,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on Lola's Chronicles to talk about your books and things that you've been through to even get to your journey or where you are. I pray next year that you get those goals accomplished and
Oh,
that you
thank you.
done. I look forward to seeing you on the big screen.
Yes, that's definitely the goal. That and the plays, because that was really like the first thing I did in college, because I was a theater major in college, and I did like we learned how to build the sets and all that stuff. So it was so exciting to do that. And it was something I did too to keep the kids out of the streets and stuff. So we did the plays and I did a play called Tamika's Gift back in 1999 and it dealt with AIDS and HIV and kind of like educated people about that. So I think I'm gonna bring that one back and then maybe a few other new things too.
I look forward to it. And you guys, you hear her now, so y'all keep a lookout for Miss Sandra Nicole. Check out her books on Amazon. Look her up, and make sure y'all tap in with her for sure. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you didn't get a chance to tune in today and watch the video, you can catch it streaming in the morning on all sites. Also, you can go back and watch the video later on today. Like I said, thank you so much for taking the time out for even coming on the show and talking to us. And have a blessed day, you guys. And Lola Chronicles, we're out.